Where do you see oil moving from here? We're already seeing prices moving up. That expected tightening taking place as the OPEC supply cuts take effect. Saudi Arabia's individual pledge on the cut extension also moving into the market, and of course renewed optimism around Chinese stimulus and demand. What's your own view on where the market moves from here?
So I think our view on the market is that the oil prices will be what I would call, hang in the 80s levels going forward in Q3 and Q4. And the primary drivers are primarily two factors. One, indeed, Chinese demand has not been, as sometimes indicated from the macro indicators, that bad. We expect that China grew about 2 million barrels in earlier quarters, and Q3, Q4, China would probably grow by another 1 million barrels in each of the quarters. A lot of demand growth is still pending in the aviation sector in China. So we do expect the demand to kind of perform and help the oil prices. But what we need to keep in mind, another important factor is that after the August peak, the crude demand by the refineries goes down by about 2 to 2.5 million barrels as the global refining system goes into turnaround and maintenance in September and October. So that will put a bearish bias on the oil prices. But being Saudi taking the action of extending the cuts, as I just heard on in your last clip, about 1 million barrels cut for September. So with that in mind, our view is that the oil prices are likely to hang on in these 80s levels.
And do you expect Saudi Arabia's OPEC Plus pledge to stay intact? That's been a key question for the market, who have obviously received that independent move to cut production and to extend that unilateral supply curve very positively.
You're right, Dan. I believe that, Saudis have been playing a very calculated game, and they have clearly outlined that this is a precautionary step. They preempt the market. They know that refineries will go into turnaround going ahead. So with that in mind, we do believe that they will continue to keep the market in control. Plus, also Saudis want to see the real impact of the stimulus in China to show up. And there is another factor where Saudis probably understand that there is a lot more oil leaking into the global markets, which may not be reported so easily. So there is some sort of a fear of oversupply also coming from the non-OPEC side. We have seen that the non-OPEC has probably in the last quarters added 2 million barrels, US and Brazil and Norway. So Saudis are keeping a tab on those growth outside the OPEC region, plus refineries going into turnaround, plus waiting for real stimulus in China to show up. And if you combine all these factors, I think Saudis will continue to stay in this precautionary mode and extend cuts, depending month by month. We have also heard that UAE said that market probably is balanced and we don't need more cuts. But I guess Saudis will want to keep the market in a backwardated position and will keep the resolve to extend the cuts.